The hotel then closed, leaving everything behind, and absolutely everything. It literally looked like a scene from an abandoned horror movie. Oh, today's video is going to be a mess. Hi everyone, stop everything and watch today's video. Welcome to the channel. I'm Carol Capel, your favorite dream crusher, obviously, always. And in today's video, we're going to talk about abandoned places. You all love abandoned places. My video is the one about the abandoned Disney park, which was a hit, right? All good. Today, we're going to talk about the abandoned Nickelodeon hotel. Have you ever thought about staying at an extremely expensive hotel, expecting the dream of your life and finding really creepy things inside? Oh boy. In 1999, the children's television network Nickelodeon was changed once and for all. When SpongeBob SquarePants was launched, they basically created their own Mickey because, Nickelodeon was in a bad place before SpongeBob SquarePants. SpongeBob SquarePants arrived and revolutionized television. Soon after, SpongeBob SquarePants merchandise was being sold everywhere. It was bizarre because Disney has the Disney store, right? So Mickey stuff, things like that, except for licensed products, original Disney products are only sold at the Disney store. But Nickelodeon with SpongeBob, no. They started licensing to everyone and everything, and if you had like a street stall on 25 de Marzo and wanted to sell SpongeBob products, it was there. Official for you to sell, because they really saw in this merchandising thing a great opportunity to make money. And just like every good Mickey Mouse, SpongeBob also has his dark side. I've already discussed some things in a previous video on this channel, but I have more to add. I want to know if you all want, a video about even darker things about SpongeBob, so leave it here in the comments. If you haven't seen my SpongeBob video, watch it using the link in the card. And since they were looking a lot like their main competitor Mickey, nothing better than for them to start doing exactly the same things the competitor does. And for that reason then, they decided to open a hotel. I recently discovered a hotel I had never heard of before. When I walked by it, I said, a Nickelodeon hotel disappeared overnight after I passed by it the previous day. They wanted to open a hotel near Universal because Nickelodeon is a subsidiary of Universal, and Universal had two attractions inside the park there in Orlando, which were SpongeBob ones, which were from Nickelodeon. And then what happened? They couldn't find any land around Universal, so where did they end up buying land near? Near Disney. Actually, they didn't buy land. They partnered with one of the Holiday Inn hotels, and it was like really close to Disney. The hotel would have 100 suites, 2 pools, 2 water parks, restaurants, a full food court, and free transportation to all the Disney parks. On top of all that, during the opening of the first Nickelodeon hotel, they also promised to open 4 resorts across the United States, which never happened. And for the construction of this hotel, to turn the Holiday Inn into the Nickelodeon hotel, $2 million United States dollars were spent. So the commercials for the launch of this hotel's opening started airing on television and kept playing over and over again. And then parents who wanted to spend their vacation with their kids started booking hotel rooms at this place. Take a look at the hotel's facade and now the reception area. The rooms were quite large. There were 3 different types of rooms with various amenities, but one of the amenities, one of the most interesting features of this hotel, which was later copied by other hotels that I'll even mention to you, was the fact that the children's room was separate from the adults' room. So the adults had a private suite, right? And the children's room was also equipped with a television with a device that played CDs, because this was a long time ago, right? And also with a PlayStation 2. So it was a really cool opportunity to have entertainment right inside your hotel suite, because hotel suites are usually very boring, right? Later on, this room model was adapted for Legoland, right? Which is actually something I'd like to tell you about here. It's wonderful. I go to these themed hotels, like I've been a few times. I've been to the Universal ones already. I've been to the Disney ones, and I found it really disappointing because just sticking a character sticker on the wall isn't really making a themed room, right? And then I was invited to spend a weekend at the Lego Hotel, which is over there in Orlando. Well, not exactly in Orlando. It's called Winter Haven, which is about 45 minutes from the city of Orlando. So I went there and spent the day. There's a video here on the channel. There's a video both at the Beach Retreat, which is another hotel. which is like a beach cabin. And I also have a video at the Lego Hotel. When I arrived at the Lego Hotel, guys, I was honestly shocked because it's a themed hotel. There's Lego inside the room. Things are made of Lego. The beds are made of Lego. You know, everything is really very themed. Sticking a sticker on the wall and calling a suite themed is just fooling people, right? You pay $175 for a suite like I did for the Little Mermaid room at Disney, but there was nothing Little Mermaid themed inside. There was a sticker and a shell-shaped mirror. I was so upset. Now that we already know what the rooms were like, let's see what the hotel was like. The hotel had 2 buildings. The main building had 9 floors, and there was another adjacent building that had 5 more floors. In this main building, there was a wonderful pool with several jets, a water slide. It was like a water park complex, and it was really very beautiful. In this water park complex, there was a big bucket that fills up with water and dumps a splash on your head like those found in water parks. But from time to time, at certain hours of the day, this bucket would get green-colored water to simulate that slime from Nikki. And it would give a green-colored shower to everyone who was there. Besides that, in this main building, there was also a basketball court, a mini golf course, and between one building and another, there was a pavilion that they called the mall. This area was like a mall where there were stores, a food court with several restaurants, including a Pizza Hut and a Starbucks. Imagine having a Pizza Hut and a Starbucks inside your hotel. It was really something very attractive, right? And there was also a restaurant where you could have lunch or breakfast with characters, which was done through a reservation system, meaning you had to book in order to eat there. It's like they have their Chef Mickey's, which is inside that hotel where the train goes through, the Contemporary Resort where the train passes inside. You know, at Disney, it was the same setup. And then you could have lunch with the character and everything. In the adjacent building, there were 5 sets of buildings there. There was a slightly smaller pool, but there was also a water park complex. And it was kind of like a spa, you know? It was more relaxed. They also had a kids' spa where you could get your hair done and things like that, and a store full of Nickelodeon products. Besides all that, inside the mall, they had a 4D cinema where, in addition to the movie already being 3D, there were soap bubbles, water sprayed on the audience. It was really cool. It was designed so you could have plenty of entertainment inside the hotel. So the hotel's concept was really amazing, but the prices were very steep. Just so you have an idea, for a family to spend one night in these hotels, they would spend approximately $765. It's worth mentioning that there are rooms in Orlando, not shabby ones, okay, just regular rooms that cost $50 a night. So $765 is really very expensive. There was another problem too that ended up scaring the kids and ended up causing this hotel to go into decline. At that restaurant I mentioned to you, which had lunch, breakfast, and dinner with the characters, there were characters to take pictures with, right? So there was SpongeBob, there was Patrick, there was Sandy, there were characters from the Fairly Odd Parents, there were all kinds, like any possibilities you can imagine for you to take pictures with. But guys, there's a big difference between the characters you take pictures with at Disney and the characters you take pictures with at Universal. At Disney, they're really concerned about aesthetics. So Mickey has a kind of smile that no matter what position his head is in, it looks like he's smiling. So if his head is tilted up like this, he's got a big smile. When his head is down, his smile appears more timid. When turned to the side, the smile looks slightly different. It's a study they did so they could give Mickey an expression that wouldn't look strange depending on the angle. So everyone says that I hate Disney. Guys, I don't hate Disney, okay? There are things about them that I actually find really amazing. We discuss what needs to be addressed, including mediocre matters. So I think that's a very interesting thing. Another thing about Disney characters is that they have this neck movement here, right? So they are articulated, so the character itself is very beautiful. That was years of work, guys, of improving and all that. The first Disney characters were horrible, really scary, with holes in their faces. It was bizarre. I've even made a video showing photos of vintage Disney characters that are like really creepy. I'll leave the video in the description for you to watch if you haven't already. So what happens? There's no comparison. The Universal characters look like they were made like by blind Chinese people. That's what it really looks like because they're horrible. So the characters that stayed inside this cafe to take pictures with the kids, they looked like they were on drugs because they had weird eyes, a weird smile, and they would go into the... Honestly, the scene was truly horrifying, scary enough to frighten young children. But 10 years went by from the construction of the hotel until it closed, and look at what the Nickelodeon Hotel looks like now. Brace yourself, it's truly frightening. You can see that the upholstery is disgusting. I mean, it was never cleaned. The refrigerators and all the hotel amenities are completely ruined. A heavy shower head was about to fall. If it fell on a child's head, it could make a big hole in their skull. So the hotel was very run down, and the daily rate just kept going up. $765 there. A kick in the butt. And then the hotel closed, obviously, and ended up leaving everything behind. I mean, everything. It literally looked like a scene from an abandoned horror movie. But then Holiday Inn came and decided to buy the hotel back from Nickelodeon, and little by little they started changing the orange color to green and blue, which are Holiday Inn's colors, and ended up reopening the hotel. They reused the features from the previous hotel to make some improvements because it was starting to look really bad even for Holiday Inn, which isn't such a bad hotel chain. It's a mid-range chain. It was getting really bad for them to carry the Nickelodeon name. Since the Nickelodeon Hotel was getting, that site, TripAdvisor, where you can post photos of your trip and your hotel. You can leave comments and give ratings. They were getting really low ratings and terrible comments about the hotel. So it was looking really bad for Holiday Inn. So they said, you know what, let's stop with this story. And then they never built another hotel in the United States. However, my friends, there's a Nickelodeon hotel in Punta Cana that's wonderful. It even has a private pool. Seriously, the day I go, I'll show it to you. It's something I really want to do, go to Punta Cana, because I've never been to Mexico or the Caribbean. I've only been to Miami's Caribbean waters, which doesn't count as it's still the United States. I really want to go, and when I do, I'll show you. I hope you enjoyed learning about the abandoned Nickelodeon Hotel. See you in our next video.